Call our public hearing to order at this time. Our first order of business tonight is a public hearing for 3 different ordinances. First one is the public hearing for ordinance number 2020-17. Mr. Stoltz.
Ordinance number 2020-17 to State of Georgia, City of Fort Oglethorpe, an ordinance to amend the City of Fort Oglethorpe Code of Ordinances, Chapter 70, Solid Waste, Article 3, Collection and Disposal, Section 70-74, Preparation and Storage for Acceptable Waste, to be amended by adding subparagraph F, no household garbage, solid waste, brush, or yard trimmings as defined by this article that is generated within a single-family and multifamily residence or a business occupier, owner, or operator of a commercial business shall be placed at the curbside for pickup earlier than 48 hours prior to the scheduled date of pickup. Section G, that no person shall transfer household garbage, solid waste, brush, or yard trimmings as defined by this article to any place within the city for the purpose of disposal at a location other than that person's own residence or commercial establishment. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak either in opposition of or in favor of ordinance number 2020-17 as amended? Mayor, doesn't appear anyone's present or to speak in opposition of or in favor of said ordinance. And that
Thank you,
public
Mr.
hearing will be
Stoltz.
closed.
Our next public hearing is for ordinance number 2020-18. Mr. Stoltz.
Twenty 2018, State of Georgia, City of Fort Oglethorpe, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Fort Oglethorpe, Chapter 94, Utilities, Article 2, Water and Sewer Service, Section 9436, Water and Sewer Rates, to be amended as follows. All utility rates apply to each and every unit of any multi-business in the same commercial structure. Is there anyone here that would like to speak either in opposition of or in favor of the proposed amendment? Mr. Mayor, doesn't appear anyone's present to speak in favor of or in opposition, and the public hearing can be closed.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. Our third and final ordinance reading tonight at the public hearing is for ordinance number 2020-19. Mr. Stoltz.
2020-19, State of Georgia, City of Fort Oglethorpe, and an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Fort Oglethorpe, Chapter 94, Utilities, Article 2, Water and Sewer Service, Section 9446, Utility Service Disconnects. By amending same paragraph 7, the city shall disconnect water and sewer service to any customer whose unpaid overdue balance for water service exceeds the sum of $30, subject to other provisions of this article. The council may from time to time by ordinance amend this minimum disconnect balance. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of or in opposition of the amendment to this ordinance or the code? Mr. Mayor, there doesn't appear anyone present to speak in favor or opposition of the ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. That concludes our public hearing for the evening. At this time, we will call our regularly scheduled council meeting to order. Mr. Stoltz, if you would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Earl Gray, Mayor.
Here.
Jim Childs, Councilman.
Here.
Craig Crawford, Councilman.
Here.
Derek Rogers, Councilman.
Here.
Council Lady Mayor Pro Tem Paula Stinnett.
Here.
Rhonda Jones. That completes the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. We do have a quorum for our meeting tonight. At this time, we'll do our invocation and our pledge. Ms. Stinnett, if you would, please do the invocation. Mr. Crawford, lead us in the pledge.
Join me, please. Make our beginning in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Gracious Lord, we thank you for your mercy. Thank you for keeping citizens safe and those who serve safe as they face the dangers of protecting us. Lord, thank you for the wisdom and your grace as we make decisions this evening. Let us do so with your hand upon us. Lord, be with those who are not with us tonight. Give us the words, the thoughts, and the deeds to bring glory to you with all we say, think, and do. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll set the agenda. We do have one item that we do need to add to the agenda tonight. That item will be executive session. Will be added right below the mayor and council comments. At this time, I will entertain a motion to add executive session to the agenda.
Second, sir.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Executive session will be added to the agenda after the mayor and council comments. Any other additions or deletions, Ms. Hugh?
No, Mr. Mayor.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Agenda has been approved. Next item on the agenda is minutes. If the council's had an opportunity to review the meetings from our regular council meeting, which was held on January the 11th, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda, appearances. Chief Randy Camp.
Thank you, Mayor.
Before you kind of get started there, I would just like to say, I don't know if congratulations is the right word or not, but the way you guys handled that fire that we had and managed to keep that thing contained to one unit is absolutely amazing. It shows what kind of fire department that we do have here. And on behalf of me and the council, I'd like to, if you'd express to your guys our appreciation. I mean, y'all just did an outstanding job. It's amazing, as confined as that was, that y'all got it confined and it didn't let that thing spread. So, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will definitely pass on your comments. The crews, if I may add, the crews really worked hard. Very proud of them and the 2 rescues that they performed. And so performing the rescues and then having to gain control of the fire afterwards, you know, even magnifies it. So really proud of them, and they did work hard. And thank you again.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mayor and council members, city manager, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you tonight and give you an update on the fire department since the merger. Again, thank you also for trusting Catoosa County Fire Department to provide emergency services to the city of Fort Oglethorpe. It's something that we take very, very seriously, and obviously it's definitely a passion of mine. The consolidation between both departments into one has been very smooth, and the transition had no interruption in service. And I'd like to just speak briefly on the fire station here in the city. We call it Fire Station 9. And so at Fire Station 9, what's new here in the city and service a little bit, and we'll talk some about that. Of course, we all know that 2020 has been a year of devastation and heartbreak as we saw COVID move into our county and the city. We saw a lot of people sick, and I know everybody's probably been touched by someone who's had it, had a difficult time with it, and even some who's passed away from it, and that's really sad. Of course, as you're aware, the COVID caused a tremendous strain on the county resources at first. Like everybody else, we were kind of really unprepared for it, even though things like that had been discussed in the past. But attaining the personal equipment, you know, we changed SOPs and the way we operate it, kind of made us step back and look. So the purchase of safety equipment became a very high priority along with other departments. So, and then, wearing the gowns and the mask and things on patients, it's been definitely different for all of us. We watched our call volume drop significantly. From the county-wide, we were running about 15 calls a day, and it dropped to about 4 at first. And of course, we figured a lot of that's people were at home, they were not out traveling, car wrecks were down and stuff, so gave us actually an opportunity to get caught up on some other things. Of course, in March, we all know that we were hit with severe wind events that devastated several homes in the city and county. In the city, we called in off-duty personnel to help assist with the storm. Catoosa County Fire Department provided aid to 162 addresses. This was anything from removing trees to putting tarps on people's homes. This action saved, further water damage to the residents. We also were able to provide many residents with medical needs such as oxygen bottles and generators. So that's something that you run into when you have so much power lines down, people who depend on O2. Within the city limits of Catoosa, of the city, we answered 576 calls in the year 2020, and the breakdown follows as 31 fires total, 283 rescue calls, 24 hazardous condition, those are gas leaks and stuff, 82 service calls, could be from assisting somebody out of the floor, 71 good intent calls, 84 false alarms. Out of what's noted is out of the 31 fires, 15 fires were in buildings. The total loss was estimated to be $385,000. Had the fire department not responded quickly, the value of those buildings is estimated to be around $3 million. So that was a total savings of our residents for $2.4 million just in the city. And this protection obviously helps us with ISO ratings also. In an effort to provide quick response, Catoosa County Fire Department has established the use of new computers and all first out apparatuses. And those have been installed now. And you're probably aware of the new CAT system that our 911 system has. And it seems to be working pretty good. I like a lot of the features on it. Now we have a text that will come up and tell us where the fire's at, and it highlights the text message. And on the text message, which is pretty good, there's always streets changing and stuff, but it's pretty good. You can hit where it's underlined, and it shows cross street, and then it shows exactly where that location's at. This is the same thing they see on the screen in the fire truck, and it also shows the closest hydrant proximity. So if you're not really sure, this one here was exactly where 1475 Cross Street's at. So then it shows everything else around the area, so El Matadors and Hay Street. So it's really neat. This is one thing I really do like. Of course, I like new electronics, and that we're in that age of a lot of things, so it's really helping a lot. And of course, this also gives us additional information that the dispatcher is receiving. So it could be like the other day, people were trapped, so that information was coming and being fed to the units responding. So they realized that this call's gone from reported fire to entrapment. And that pops up on the screen. Also, you may not be aware that Catoosa County, we've established an automatic aid agreement with Walker County. Walker County has a fire station in Fairview, and they're staffing it with full-time staff now. So automatic aid, different than mutual aid, automatic aid, you may be aware of it, may not. But automatic aid agreements that we just have an agreement that we drop boundaries, same thing we did in Catoosa with the city of FO at the time. Drop boundaries, forget about that county line, and send the quickest units to the scene. So with this agreement now gives the city 5 engine companies within 5 road miles of the city limits for a total of 14 personnel on first due apparatus. And Walker County also assisted us with 2 engines and a ladder on the fire Saturday. So, and with the other county resources, we staff other stations between 12 to 14 depending on the day and sick leave and whatnot. So we have reestablished the fire station on Mack Smith Road, opened it back up. It's currently operating as a volunteer station, and right now we have 5 volunteers, and it's growing. And they've been getting out, responding to calls, so we're real excited to see that fire station open back up and servicing the citizens of not only Fort Oglethorpe, but also the county as a whole. And I'm sure all of you's noticed the changes behind Fire Station 10 on Mack Smith Road. The city also, which we appreciate, gave us at least a couple acres for a training facility. So we poured a slab in the back and moved our burn containers there, so it gave us a nice area to train. And the county's also purchased a training tower, which we had opened the bids on in December, and they approved the purchase. We're currently, with that, we are hoping to have that up by May. And so this will help increase our capabilities as a fire department. There's some things that we do have in our county that we're not able to train on. And so this is really very exciting for me, because even when I was chief of FO back in, well, we can go back in the 80s further back, but my assignment was assistant chief of training, and I always wanted some facility where I could simulate fires and stretching hose and advancing up and down basements, in basements, and advancing up to the floors. So having this training tower is going to give us the ability to do that. So it's going to enhance our abilities to provide a better level of service for our citizens. So as far as ISO duties go, speaking of ISO, like always, we completed hose testing, pump and ladder truck testing, and everything has passed. We conducted pre-fire plans in the city, 715 pre-fire plans. And the pre-fire plans is just basically information about the building and contact information, power cutoffs, anything that's pertinent to the firefighter responding to that call, whether it's the gas shutoffs and then also the closest fire hydrants. I look at the pre-fire plans from the standpoint of the fire protection, and do we have enough water in the ground to extinguish the fire? So on the pre-fire plans, we also calculate the needed fire flows. So if that particular building needs 3,000 gallons to extinguish it, then we put that there. And then also we put what hydrants we need, and if we're lacking those hydrants, what would be our supplemental response, and that might be call for additional tankers out of the county into the city. So, but fortunately the city's hydrated really good. We have a lot of hydrants, and so that's really a major plus when it comes from fire protection standpoint. Probably on that fire Saturday, we were flowing excess of 3,000 gallons plus a minute, and able to sustain that for quite some time. Inspections completed was 896, and we're really surprised that we were able to do that many inspections, fire inspections in the city. We have put on additional staff because we're taking on also inspecting buildings in the county, so we put on a deputy fire marshal and then 2 part-time people. So we have 4 people in our inspection department now. So we reviewed 52 plans, most of that's in the county. And so unfortunately, one thing that's really changed that we really miss is educating the public. I've always enjoyed going to the schools and speaking to the students about fire safety and education. You know, the best way to save life and property is never have the event in the first place. And of course, COVID has really put us behind in being able to do that in the group. So we have had a lot of media attention where we, on Facebook page, where we do different things to get the message out, whether it's keep your door closed or check your smoke alarm. So, you know, some of our staff have been very creative on the social media sites to educate the public best we can. And we actually are getting, it's really surprising to me how many impressions, how many times people look at our sites and share it and stuff. So it's really a good way to get the message out. We have started back our CPR classes, and we have scheduled one here February the 10th at February the 10th at Station 9. And we'll be doing 10 people, trying to do the social distance and stuff. So And just to throw it out there, if any time that the city would like a CPR class, we'd be happy to come over and conduct one. So, and we're keeping the numbers down. You know, usually CPR classes were somewhere around 18 to 20, and so we're keeping that number down to 10 or below. But we feel this is a service that we really need to get and get back into teaching CPR. So what's future plans? What's the future for here in the city and Catoosa County? Of course, we're hoping to reestablish a fire station in the Boynton community. We feel that fire station's needed. We're looking at the design and cost facilities and how we can pay for that. We have assisted the county and state with developing a strategic plan to help distribute the vaccination for COVID. And this coming Wednesday, Thursday, we are going to take a stab at the colonnade to try to do 700 a day. And we're hoping we can do some type of mass vaccination. We have a lot of firefighters who can give the shots. Anybody that's EMT, IA, or paramedic. So we're hoping to really be very aggressive with the COVID vaccinations and help our health department and county vaccinate as many of our citizens that we can. We're hoping in the future to bring a fire safety and educator on staff, in the near future, either this year's budget or hopefully next year, but someone that we can have that will go out and speak to our citizens about fire safety, hit the civic groups and schools and get back in and start talking fire safety. So, of course, our ISO rating's always on the forefront. We're hoping within 5 to 10 years that we can, further reduce to a class 2. So we still have the 3, and it's countywide. So there's things that we can do, and hopefully as time goes by that we can continue to drop that rating and make it definitely keep the insurance affordable for our citizens. And I think that's really what we all strive to do. Of course, we know that part of that's the water supply, and so we really have been working with the water department, testing the hydrants and painting them. And so we had a few that we may have closed too fast, but we worked and they were able to get things really fixed up quick. So you have a really good water department, and they're great to work with. So they've been very pleasant to help us through things and some of the issues we've had. So really hats off to your water department, the job that they do, because that is 40% of the overall rating. 10% is communications and 50% is the fire department itself. And that gives a score of ISO. So that was my presentation for tonight. Again, thank you for the time. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
How are you going to communicate about the shots with the health department?
Through the health department, they have put on additional staff. The county's hired some personnel to help answer the phone, and I think these are already been scheduled. And so as time goes on, hopefully, we want to continue to do this at least on a weekly basis, at least 1 or 2 days. Our numbers, we would like to see 1,000 a day. Hopefully we'll get to that number. But there's already, I think, on the list of, last I heard was over 23,000 that want to take the shot, so that's a good number. Now the thing is getting the vaccination. They're out, and we're supposed to be having 1,900 coming in. So hopefully we'll be able to do that Wednesday and Thursday and continue that until we can get our citizens vaccinated.
Outstanding. Thank you.
So, yes, sir. Nothing else? Okay.
Good job.
Thank you. And again, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chief County. And we will not think it's rude if you need to leave, sir. We understand if you don't want to stay around. Next item on the agenda is reports. Ms. Hume.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to say thank you to Chief Camp for coming tonight and giving us that update. It was good to meet you as well in person. And also, I just want to say thank you to Primary Healthcare and Sandy Matheson. They quick work to help set up a shot clinic here for our staff, for our critical staff here a couple weeks ago. So we're very grateful to them for that. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Hume. Next item on the agenda is ordinances. Item number 1 under ordinances is the third and final reading for ordinance number 2020-17. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2020-17, State of Georgia, City of Fort Oglethorpe, an ordinance to amend the City of Fort Oglethorpe Code of Ordinances, Chapter 70, Solid Waste, Article 3, Collection and Disposal, Section 70-74, Preparation and Storage of Acceptable Waste. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is authorized under Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, the Official Code of Georgia, annotated 3635-3, and the Charter for the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is vested in the City Council composed of a mayor and 5 council members, and whereas the aesthetics of the streets and byways of the City of Fort Oglethorpe and health of its citizens are degraded by the placement of trash and refuse at the curbside for long periods of time prior to the scheduled pickup, and if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. It is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe that the City of Fort Oglethorpe Code of Ordinances, Chapter 70, Solid Waste, Article 3, Collection and Disposal, Section 70-74, Preparation and Storage of Acceptable Waste, is hereby amended to add the following paragraphs. F. No household garbage, solid waste, brush, or yard trimmings as defined by this article that is generated within a single family or multifamily residence or a business occupier, owner, or operator of a commercial establishment shall be placed at the curbside for pickup earlier than 48 hours prior to the scheduled date of pickup. G. No person shall transfer household garbage, solid waste, brush, or yard trimmings as defined by this article to any place within the city for the purpose of disposal at a location other than that person's own residence or commercial establishment. H. The penalty for each violation of this ordinance shall be prescribed by the municipal court for the City of Fort Oglethorpe as a fine not to exceed $1,000 and or imprisonment not to exceed 60 days. First reading, 4th day of December 2020. Second reading, this 11th day of January 2021. Passed and adopted. Or third reading, 25th day of January 2021. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. I have a motion to approve.
So moved, sir.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Ms. Stennett?
Yes.
Mr. Child?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2 under ordinances is the third and final reading for ordinance number 2020-18. Mr. Stokes.
2020-18, State of Georgia, City of Fort Oglethorpe, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Fort Oglethorpe, Chapter 94, Utilities, Article 2, Water and Sewer Service, Section 9436, Water and Sewer Rates. Whereas the duly elected governing authority for the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is authorized under Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, the Official Code of Georgia, annotated 3635-3, and the Charter of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, is vested in the City Council composed of a mayor and 5 council members, and whereas the governing authority for the City of Fort Oglethorpe is desirous that the operation of its water and sewer department be financially efficient, and whereas the governing authority finds that it is unclear how utility fees apply to multi-business units in the same commercial structure, and whereas that all ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and whereas that if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect or impair other parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part to be held invalid or unconstitutional. Now therefore, it is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the city of Port Oglethorpe that the Code of Ordinances for the city of Port Oglethorpe, Chapter 94, Utilities, Article 2, Water and Sewer Service, Section 9436, Water and Sewer Rates is hereby amended by adding the following paragraph. All utility fees apply to each and every unit of any multi-business in the same commercial structure. First reading, 14th day of December 2020. Second reading, 11th day of January 2021. Third reading, 25th day of January 2021. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. I have a motion to approve.
Motion?
Do I have a-
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Child?
Yes.
Ms. Stennett?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 3, under ordinances, is the third and final reading for ordinance number 2020-19. Mr. Stokes.
2020-19, State of Georgia, City of Port Oglethorpe, an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Port Oglethorpe, Chapter 94, Utilities, Article 2, Water and Sewer Service, Section 9446, Utility Service Disconnection. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Port Oglethorpe, Georgia, is authorized under Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the State of Georgia, Official Code of Georgia, annotated 3635-3, and the Charter of the City of Port Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the City of Port Oglethorpe, Georgia. And whereas the duly elected governing authority of the City of Port Oglethorpe, Georgia, is vested in the City Council composed of a mayor and 5 council members. And whereas the governing authority for the City of Port Oglethorpe, Georgia, is desirous that its operation of its water and sewer service be efficient. Whereas the governing authority finds that it is advantageous to establish the minimum amount for which water and sewer service shall be disconnected to a customer by the city, and whereas all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, and that whereas if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect, impair the parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Now therefore it is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the City of Port Oglethorpe that the Code of Ordinances for the City of Port Oglethorpe, Chapter 94, Utilities, Article 2, Water and Sewer Service, Section 9446, Utility Service Disconnection is amended by adding the following paragraph. 7. The city shall disconnect water and sewer service to any customer whose unpaid overdue balance for the water service exceeds the sum of $30, subject to other provisions of this article. The council may from time to time by ordinance amend this minimum disconnect balance. First reading, 14th day of December 2020. Second reading, 11th day of January 2021. Third reading, 25th day of January 2021. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stoltz. I have a motion to approve.
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Child?
Yes.
Ms. Stennett?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 4 under ordinances is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-01. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2021-01, variance request, be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Port Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof. Section 1, that the following property owned by Marketplace Investments LLC and known as MAP 0003B01200A 909 Battlefield Parkway, Port Oglethorpe, Georgia 30742 is hereby granted a variance request to construct a 10 by 30 digital billboard within 450 feet of residential property. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached hereto. Section 2, if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect and impair the parts of this ordinance unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, that this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 11th day of January 2021. Second reading is 25th day of January 2021. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Give you a minute there.
No, I'm fine.
All right.
I'm good.
Item number 5 under ordinances is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-02. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2021-02, zoning C1 special exception request. Be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, and is hereby ordained by authority thereof, Section 1, that the following property owned by Scenic Suds LLC and known as map 0013B01300A 3545 Battlefield Parkway, Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia 30742, is hereby granted a C1 special exception B, request to construct a quick-serve oil change. Said property is particularly described in Exhibit A attached here 2, Section 2. If any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect and impair other parts of this ordinance, unless it clearly appears that such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption of the mayor and council. First reading, 11th day of January 2021. Second reading, 25th day of January 2021. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Next item is item number 6 under ordinances. It is the second reading of ordinance number 2021-03. Mr. Stokes.
Ordinance number 2021-03, ordinance to amend the 2020 fiscal year budget ordinance number 2019-33 for the city of Fort Oglethorpe. Whereas the duly elected governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is authorized under Article 9, Section 2, Paragraph 3 of the Constitution of the state of Georgia, the official code of Georgia, annotated 3635-3, and the charter of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, to adopt reasonable ordinances to protect and improve the public health, safety, welfare, and aesthetics of the citizens of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And whereas the duly elected governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia is vested in the city council composed of a mayor and 5 council members, and whereas all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed, whereas that if any part of this ordinance shall be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, such invalidity or unconstitutionality shall not affect and impair other parts of this ordinance, so as it clearly appears such other parts are wholly and necessarily dependent upon the part held to be invalid or unconstitutional. Whereas it is hereby ordained by the governing authority of the city of Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, that the following shall constitute the amended 2020 fiscal year budget. This ordinance shall take effect from and after its adoption by the mayor and council. First reading, 11th day of January 2021. Second reading, 25th day of January 2021. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Next item on the agenda, we have resolutions listed, but we have none. Next item on the agenda is new business. Item number 1 under new business, proposed approval of street acceptance of Emerson Circle. Mr. Long.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Had a request by Thad Hunt for the city to accept the road of Emerson Circle. They're off of Mac Smith Road. It's a commercial development. The city staff has inspected it as it's went along, and it does. We re-inspected it, and we got records of all the testing that was done on the road. So it is now time for it to be accepted by the city and bring that before you for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 2, under new business, proposed approval to award contract for demolition services for city-owned property located at 209 Forest Road. Mr. Long.
Yes, this is house at 209 Forest Road that the city purchased. It was damaged during the tornado of 2020, and received 2 quotes. The low quote was from Bobby Swanson Construction for $12,500. This will be, once we award it to him, This will, he'll have 30 days to get that done, and it will include seeding and strawing, putting back, and they'll tear out the driveway and everything, and hauling all the debris off, and it will be cleaned up.
Thank you, Mr. Long. I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 3, under new business, proposed approval of an intergovernmental agreement for the Central Square Records Management System. Ms. Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is for the proposed execution of the intergovernmental agreement between Catoosa County, the City of Ringgold, and the City of Fort Oglethorpe for this records management system. Back in 2018 and 2019, the City of Fort Oglethorpe participated in SPLOS presentation meetings with Catoosa County and the City of Ringgold, and this is one of the projects that was voted favorably by the community to upgrade the records management system that would be shared by all first responders in the county in Fort Oglethorpe and Ringgold. Once a request for proposal process was done, this company, Central Square, was selected to be the vendor. This is a custom designed system that will enhance the safety of emergency personnel and the public. It will reduce response times, and it will enable kind of instantaneous sharing of information between local agencies, 911 operators, and the court system. I think the chief gave us a demo of it a little bit while he was speaking earlier. This replaces a very old police reporting system that had limited capacity on our side. For the first 2 years of the agreement, this will be paid for out of county SPLOS funds. And in 2020, the city will start to pay our portion of it, which is expected not to exceed $37,798.28. And this will be incorporated into the 2022 budget. There's also the potential for there to be a 5% yearly increase as the agreement goes on for any years beyond 2022.
Thank you, Ms. Hume. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So our participation starts in 2022 financially, is that correct?
Financially, yes.
Yes, okay,
But the participation, the actual participation begins now.
right, okay.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Item number 4, under new business, proposed approval of alcohol license for, I'm gonna get this wrong, Corazon de Mexico Modern Mexican Cuisine, located at 2681 Battlefield Parkway. Ms. Hughes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is for I'll butcher it too, Corazon de Mexico Modern Mexican Cuisine.
Better.
At
Better.
2681 Battlefield Parkway, the police chief and building official have both signed off on this application.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. I have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I have a
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do we know when it'll open?
Yeah.
Maybe March,
Mark, okay,
hopefully.
perfect,
Still working on it.
Excellent.
can't wait.
Corazon
Yeah, it's.
de Mexico, heart of Mexico.
Translates for Heart of Mexico.
Yes.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. Welcome to the city, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great to have
You guys
you.
know Bump to Fork, by any chance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I opened Bump to Fork. I was executive chef
okay,
for Hugh Harris.
awesome,
So now I'm back.
great,
Oh,
Welcome back.
great to have you.
thank you.
Next item on the agenda is mayor and council comments. I don't have anything. I spent most of mine with Chief Camp. Other than that, I'm sure y'all noticed that Ms. Rhonda's not with us tonight. Let's continue to keep that family in our thoughts and our prayers. It's not looking real good for David, so let's keep them in our thoughts and prayers, if you don't mind. And, you know, just never hurts to say an extra one, so let's just say an extra one today. Mr. Childs,
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Mr. Crawford,
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Rogers,
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Steddy.
Nothing, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Stop it.
That's first.
It is.
Next item on the agenda is executive session. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
So moved, sir.
Have a
Second.
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 Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're out of executive session. In executive session, we discussed personnel. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.